Then, with major developments in the VA scandal and the IRS scandal this week rocking the Obama administration, Bill O'Reilly is blasting what he calls liberal media bias here.
There's no question the major national media in America is trying to protect President Obama and will promote the candidacy of Hillary Clinton. For informed Americans, the blatant partisanship doesn't have much of effect. But for the 50% of us who do not pay attention, who do not know very much about their country, media bias is devastating.
Ro Khan's host of the Ro Khan Show with Richard Roper and contributor for Windy City Live. And Leslie Marshall's back with us, too, syndicated radio talk show host and a Fox News contributor. Good morning to both of you. We went through the numbers. Let's just say that, you don't want to talk about Bridgegate? You can find that everywhere you look. You want to talk about the IRS story this week, Ro? You gotta go a long way to find it. Go ahead, start us off, and we'll get into it.
Well, I don't know that you have to go a long way to find it. You're seeing a lot about the IRS scandal. At least I've been seeing a lot about it. And Lois Lerner looks like...
Hang on.
I have, actually. I have.
Tuesday morning in the Washington Post, in the print edition, there was one opinion article written about it. You could not find the story in the entire A section of the newspaper. You could find it online in the morning, but not the print section. What's up with that?
Well, this story is getting too big. It's not going to be controllable at some point here, and I don't exactly understand why there have been some media outlets that have laid back on this, because the IRS is a bipartisan issue. You're seeing a lot of Democrats jump out on this. But I think that part of the problem here is that conservative media is a victim of its own success. I think what's happened with conservative media is early on in the administration of Barack Obama, we all know there were some coverage there that just didn't seem right. It didn't seem fair. There were stories that didn't pan out. And there was a boy who cried wolf sort of effect, I think, on Benghazi, on IRS and VA, which are all real scandals, are real things. And I think that people in the mainstream media and in the main that Bill O'Reilly was talking about sort of ignored the early conservative media reporting on this because they thought it was biased. Well, it turns out to be some great reporting.
So it's just a question of time before they caught up. Leslie, go.
Well, I would disagree with Ro on the IRS and agree with you there, Bill. I do feel that there hasn't been a lot of negative reporting. I hate the IRS and love to read negative reports about them, actually. Like to see them shut down. But that's my personal opinion on that branch of government. When we look at certain stories, though, I agree with Bill and disagree respectfully. And the latter based on stories like Sergeant Bergdahl, freedom of the press, Syria, foreign policy. Is the president strong or weak? Vladimir Putin, and who's strong there? Ukraine, Russia, the list goes on. Today, I Googled today about the VA, and 17 hours before I had Googled, CNN had a piece on that. So, and I agree with Ro. There are times where the media has to report this. They can't ignore it.
They broke that story out of Phoenix, okay? On Bridgegate, the first week, the national news networks had 112 minutes on that story. And the first week of the IRS story, there's 3 minutes and 14 seconds. Huh. What's up with that, Leslie?
Well, that's what I was saying. With regard to the IRS, I don't feel that there's been fair and balanced reporting across the board. But I have to say, if we're looking just at television, that's one thing. But Ro and I are both talk show hosts on radio. And on radio, Ro, I know you can't disagree with me on this one. There's an there are hundreds of conservative talk show hosts that are presenting very anti-Obama messages. And I think Alan Colmes and I and 4 others are nationally syndicated progressives left in America today. So I think it really depends on the medium that you're listening to or watching. Bill is right. The American voter has to educate.
I want to cut through this. So you're talking about the IRS on radio. That's your point, right?
Well, I'm saying that the IRS story I don't feel has been covered, and I do feel that the president has been perhaps put forth by many media outlets in a positive light, but not overall with all of the negative stories or the negative situations that have passed through the White House.
What do you think of that, Ro?
Well, the IRS thing, though, is about to explode because here's the problem. When you find out that 5 out of 6 computers actually had their hard drives crash, whose hard drive really crashes in the modern era? And that the IRS is only holding its information for 6 months when they require us to hold all of our information for 7 years? It's ridiculous. And to Leslie's point, people hate the IRS. So the IRS is going to get run over here.
We've got some breaking news, but I just put a fine point on this, okay? Because the IRS, Americans are just catching up up with this story right now, but they would be caught up if more people talked about it and reported on it. You look at the major newspapers, New York Times, Washington Post, LA Times, a couple of print stories throughout the week in the first week of coverage. I mean, that's got to change, and we'll see if it does. Ro, thanks. Leslie, thanks.